9 Hobbit Lane. I was just gonna comment on 2 blanket statements that were made about the public sitting here. I disagree that, nobody here would have anything positive to say about anything that's going on up here. I feel like, except for the last hour and a half, the meetings have been much more, they've been a little lighter, less angry, and it feels a lot more comfortable sitting here, so I appreciate that. So there's a positive for the board. I think that it's true, I think more people would come to the meetings. You don't know how many people will show up, or don't come because it's at 5 o'clock. So Mr. Lawson, when you said nobody, you disagree with that there aren't many people besides a couple of people in the township who would think that 5 o'clock is not a good time. I feel that that's not a fair statement. I don't think you have a good idea of how many people would come. I think 6 o'clock is an awesome time. I know myself, I work till 4:30, so I rushed to get here.
I haven't heard anybody else but what I'm hearing here.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying.
That's what I said.
And we used to have them later.
Yeah, I used to come when they were later. And my other positive thing about the board was that the meetings are shorter. Like, you have cut back on that, so somebody mentioned that up here, and I don't know who it was, but thank you for that.
Thank you so much.
Just one more.
Oops, okay.
I'll make this quick, but you guys really ticked me off. When I came on this board in 2005, we were so damn deep in debt.
Can you please state your name for the record, sir?
She could look it up, and it's Charles Rose. I sat on this board for 3 years, keeping this township out of bankruptcy. I come in here with $137,000 in debt and no money to pay. And don't tell me, ask, what were we doing? We were trying to keep us out of bankruptcy. When I left this board in 2008, we had almost as much money in the reserve fund as we had income in a year. That's not bad financial management. That's trying to get the money here so we can actually keep things going. So don't ask me, what were we doing? We were saving things. We were cutting budgets to the absolute minimum to try and keep bills paid. I was on the phone for hours with creditors, making sure that we could delay the payments enough that we could actually make the payments. And Larry was sitting here often enough having to do the same thing. Don't tell me, ask questions about what were we doing. We had income of about $1.1 million a year, a third of what you're pulling in now. And we were making it function. Why didn't we have money for parks? Because we had money for nothing. We didn't even have money to pay a police department at the time. Now, is it a shame? Yeah, it's a shame. But that's what happened whenever I came in. I worked my rear end off to the point where my wife was ready to divorce me because I would come home so angry after every meeting that I couldn't sleep for hours after I finally got back. And yeah, I sat up in here until midnight on some of these meetings, listening to some of the complaints and stories and everything else. Yeah, and we heard some of the same stories that we're hearing. Your project, we knew about it,
I know.
but it's
Nobody
Peters
did
Creek
anything.
Cemetery.
Why there's so much money?
Yeah, you spent
Nobody
money.
did anything.
Why didn't you spend any money?
Nobody did anything. It's been
Well,
going
for
on
one
since
thing, they didn't spend a
1990.
lot of
My
money
dad
for
had to
these.
fix it himself until my husband had to wade through fecal matter and got fed up.
Right.
Yeah,
Now
right.
you're asking Peters Creek Cemetery
No.
Authority to take
I
it.
go back way further than this administration that you're talking about. Believe me.
Yeah.
Nobody helped us then. Now, this is the first time we've had help. I moved in 1989,
Okay.
so I can tell you better what happened. And if you had all this money, then why didn't anybody help
Why
us when
didn't
we
we have-
asked for it?
Because we
When
used
we
to
had
get
fecal
police
matter running through our
back
yard
in
and our
here.
driveway and asked for help, why didn't anybody help us if we had all this abundance of money?
We never had an abundance of money.
You just said we did.
We just
had
said we had to
surplus.
cut
Where was
expenses
it?
to an absolute minimum to even get to
Oh my
that
gosh.
level.
You can't argue.
No, you can't argue.
But the point is, you're bashing from the past. Get out of the past. Everybody just get out of the past, and we can move on from all this stuff.
I would love to move on, but.
You're in the
we're gonna
past.
be
Let's
dragged
move
back
to the
into
future.
court
Let's get going
again.
here. I mean, seriously.
And we'll have to see
He's
what
way more
goes on from
diplomatic than
there.
I am.
I mean, seriously.
Mr. Sweat, I know that you're a good lawyer from what I have been told. I have no problems with anything like that. My problem is that we seem to be getting involved in all sorts of issues that, why are we spending the money on? You're gonna be fighting with Union Township, a contract that was signed almost when I was born. And you're trying to find a way to get out of that contract. have an entire sanitary authority, that's 4 communities. I can guarantee you right now, because I've sat in on the meetings, this project that Mr. Harshman is working on down there, 3 of the communities will not vote for it. They will not vote for it unless certain conditions are met. And when they try to have a meeting with you guys, what's the first thing that happens? They drag an attorney into the meeting. Who seems like a nice enough young lady, but it was supposed to be a meeting without attorneys. Instead, you wind up paying for more attorneys. Whenever request information is made.
There's a lot you don't know. You're making misstatement after misstatement. There was an agreement that the attorneys would attend the 408 meeting that was scheduled. So why do you stand up there and say that? You know what you're talking about.
Because I sat in the meeting when the first request was sent to this board.
You don't know
Asking
how
to have
the
a
meeting
meeting
was set
without
up, do you? You
attorneys.
don't know how it was set up between the 2 parties. You don't.
We sat in when the first letter was sent.
You weren't at the
We
meeting.
know what the request was.
You don't want to hear the facts. You don't want to hear what's true.
We know what was
No,
originally
you
requested.
don't know. You don't know.
In fact, how you were sitting in that same meeting.
Time out. Everybody stop. Excuse me, I'm gonna, don't make me. Okay. Here's, we have to stop at some point. We want you to speak, it's your right as a public comment. We can't do an interactive, especially when it comes down to legal matters. There is very, very concerning legal matters at stake that you are commenting on, and Mr. Sweat is trying to let you know that you're out of bounds on what you're saying. So, we are not here, we cannot comment on anything legal. So, if you would please respect that, we would appreciate that. Is there anything else in public comment, Ms. Sir?
Like I said, I just know what is going to happen coming up in the future. And I don't think it's gonna be pretty.
Thank you so much. Okay, last.